brings me pleasure to introduce Jerrod Henderson, who is an associate professor at the University of Houston. We are excited to have you and look forward to the knowledge that you will impart upon our students, our educators, and our industry professionals.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jerrod Henderson, and I'm happy to be with you just to talk about this topic of visualizing a possible future. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and how I got to where I am today. So I grew up in a small town called Kinston, North Carolina. Although this community was small, and the area of town that I grew up in was characterized by a lot of people as a underserved area. Although that was the case, I grew up in a great community. And when I describe where I grew up, I often use this term or this phrase that I heard years ago, saying it takes a village to raise a child. And that's actually the experience that I had growing up in this small town. Neighbors were influential in my life, as well as my large extended family. And so, the context of my story, it has to start there in the town I grew up in, as well as my family. So, let's fast forward to elementary school. I love to start here with my story. In the third grade, in first and second grade, I think I did okay. But in the third grade, I brought home a really bad report card on the last, we used to get report cards every 9 weeks, that last 9 weeks. And each summer, I used to go to New York and spend time with family there. And this particular year, my trip to New York almost got canceled because I didn't do well in my math. I didn't do well in my science, my reading, my social studies, just about any of it. And I like to highlight that because it was a turning point in my life. My parents and grandparents told me that if that happens again, I won't be going back to New York. So the next year, a really cool and instrumental thing happened. Um, I had an aunt who was just finishing up high school, and she hung around. She was still around. And as a fourth grader, every day after school, she would check my homework. Every problem, every subject, and I had to have everything completely right before I could go outside and play. And so, by having this very influential person in my life, it just caused me to excel. And when she and I reflect, and my family reflect about the success that I've been able to achieve so far, we always go back to third grade, what happened, and then fourth grade, the turnaround. And so when I got my PhD, my aunt, she likes to take credit for it. She said, you might not be Dr. Henderson had I not been there grading your homework. But let's keep moving. So I attended my first STEM related conference as a sixth grader. It was called the Black Engineer of the Year Awards and Conference. And that year it was held in Baltimore, Maryland. And they had a portion of this conference where they allowed um, middle school and high school students to actually attend the career fair. So you imagine a bunch of kids running around a career fair. However, when I went to some of the tables, not to just get the goodies, I actually talked to some of the people, and the engineers there, the recruiters, they actually talked to the students, and they seemed interested in us and interested in hearing us ask these questions and not just give us the free goodies, or not just ignoring us. And so I left that conference saying I wanted to be a chemical engineer. Didn't know what it was, but I think the chemical engineers had the coolest prizes on their table. But from that point, there was this fire and this spark. And so I always ask people, when did you fall in love with STEM? And that experience as a sixth grader marks one of the first moments that I think I fell in love with STEM. So let me tell you a little bit about my career and my education. So education wise, I attended a high school in North Carolina. It was a residential high school called the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics. So what happens in North Carolina is for your ninth and your 10th grade, you attend your high school in your hometown. Then you take a couple of exams, and you apply to get into the School of Science and Math, and you live there like you're in college. And so for me, I was able to get into the School of Science and Math, the kind of the nickname that we call it. But I was able to get into the School of Science and Math, and we lived there, and my peers were all super smart, and my peers were super engaged in school and in class. So that just pushed me and propelled me to further greatness. So after high school, I attended Morehouse College, where I majored in chemistry. And as a at Morehouse, I was designated as a NASA scholar or Ronald McNair scholar, and I had the opportunity to intern at NASA Langley. So two internships, working in their materials area there in Hampton, Virginia. Um, After Morehouse, I was a part of a dual degree engineering program. And so 3 years at Morehouse, chemistry degree, 2 years at North Carolina A&T State University, where I majored in chemical engineering. And when I took my first chemical engineering class, I knew that chemical engineering was for me. The problem solving, the challenging courses. And at A&T, the summer after my first year there, I had an opportunity to intern at the Department of Agriculture down in Athens, Georgia. And so not only did I have these awesome and unique educational experiences, but I had internships where I could go out and test to see if engineering was for me, if STEM was for me, and if I enjoy working in the area. And I did, but one of the common threads throughout my college life at Morehouse as well as North Carolina A&T was I loved teaching and showing other people how to learn and how to problem solve and how to approach tackling problems. So from there, I decided to go to graduate school and get a master's and PhD because I wanted to teach. So I had a master's and PhD from University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. So after completing that PhD, I actually ended up staying there, and I started my first job, which was a teaching job in chemical engineering. Fast forward a few years later, now I'm here at University of Houston. I'm a chemical engineering professor at the University of Houston, and I'm also the director of the Program for Mastery in Engineering Studies, which is a student success program. So we have groups of students who come to our college who are excited about majoring in engineering. My Promise program is set up to serve the students, and since I've been the director in 2017, to serve the students in 4 key areas. So leadership and career development, academic excellence preparation, community building, and then in engagement, keeping our students involved and engaged on campus. I'm also the co-founder of the St. Elmo Brady STEM Academy, which is an after-school science program. So I really want to see it get more students involved in and engaged in engineering. So that explains my story. It's reaching back, it's helping others, it's serving others. Now, a few principles for success for you as you visualize your future. So I live by this: work hard, play harder. So at the time that it's time to work, we're focused, we're in the zone, we're working, we're getting the job done. But also take time and opportunity to relax and do the things that you enjoy. I enjoy reading, I enjoy jogging. In fact, I try to jog every day. When the pandemic first started and I was just feeling kind of all over the place, I was jogging about 10 miles a day. I don't do that anymore. But during that time, I needed just that extra time to spend with myself, to reflect, to strategize, to plan. I also write music. So I found things that I enjoy doing. I do that to relax, but when it's time to work, I give it my all, 100%. And so when I go and talk to students, one of the quotes that I use is: hard work is the key to my future. Hard work is the key to my success. Hard work distinguishes me from the rest. What does that mean? Most people are just not willing to work hard. That's the distinguishing factor. You may say, oh, well, I'm not as smart as this person, or I'm not as talented or as gifted as this person. I always tell my students, even, and these are college students, I say, hey, I don't even pretend to be the smartest person in the room. I'm your instructor, but some of you are probably way smarter than I am. but I bet I could outwork most in the room. And so when you talk about and think about your next level, just be good at what stage you're at and hard work. You remember a guy named Michael Jordan? Um, cool basketball player, many people's favorite basketball player. What distinguished him from the rest was the hard work, the hours upon hours he spent perfecting his craft and working hard. So another principle for success is networking. What is networking? You hear that buzzword all the time. It's collaborating with others. It's getting to know other people, realizing that you don't know everything, making those meaningful connections. I try to learn from as many people as I can, as many people as possible. So from mentors, colleagues, friends, even my students. And then setting goals. You've heard this before. Your teachers have probably told you set goals. But I'm used to thinking on semester basis. So every semester, or at the start of every semester, I sit down and I have a journal. And in my journal, I start to outline some of the goals, even to-do lists. What you see here is a to-do list. But in the front part of the journal, I start to outline the long-term and the short-term goals. And I think about how am I going to achieve those goals. So writing them down is crucial and it's important, as well as tracking those goals. So I'm happy to have shared a little bit of my story with you as you visualize your possible future. Understand that you have people in your corner. Understand that we are waiting on you. We hope that you do well. And if you ever want to reach out, I'm here and I could offer advice beyond this conference. Thank you.